All right, I think we may be back now. Not sure. All right, we may be back. I'm not sure. For some reason, we got disconnected. Don't know exactly why. Let's give it a chance and see if people can find us back here again. Testing, testing. Okay, let's see if we got, who's here? Anybody here? Thumper, you're back. Good. Yeah, for some reason, the live stream ended without me doing anything. We got gremlins back here. All right, let's give it a few minutes to see who can find us. So we had to restart the stream, so we'll see how that goes. All right, listen, I'm just going to go, all right? So I don't know where I got cut off last time, but I'm going to take a look at gold and silver. So let's type those bad boys in and see what we got cooking. So, as you know, I use 3 time frames to look at the same stock for timing purposes. Okay, good. Good to have you back. See, SL back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. For some reason, we got cut off. And I don't know where we got cut off. Does anybody know my last words before we got disconnected? All right, you're here now. Okay, let's roll. Absolutely. Terry, good to have you here as well. Stuart, you're back. Good. Thumper, this is where you were gone. All right, so, okay, on gold. All right, and you got the 3 time frames, the fact that I use 3 time frames, everybody understand that for one? Okay, good. So Zeke, we were on the gold. All right, great. All right, so basically the bottom line, and then I'm going to move on, the bottom line with gold is we think there's going to be another high, okay? It got to the target range, needs to go one more time because this indicator basically has a 75% accuracy rate, so it's calling for more highs. So the trend is not over quite yet. Now, doesn't mean you jump in and buy right now because I think you can get a better price because if you look at this daily chart here, notice we have a red PTF. So it's going to go down a little further. We can see this softening on the 60-minute chart. So this is a great example of why we use the 3 time frames for timing. Because long term, we like it for a long trade. Short term, still correcting. Let's get a better price. Okay, so gold, we're going to put on the shelf for a little bit because I think we can get a better price on that. Okay. All right. The video quality is not as good. There's something wonky with the internet because we have a gigabyte of internet here. So we got a lot of internet, but I'm showing issues on the YouTube side with slow internet. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. All right, so, this is kind of what we got to deal with. But we'll do the best we can, all right? Now, let's see what else we got cooking here. All right, so let me take a look quickly at some of the cryptos. I know that is always fascinating to a lot of people. And I've got the GBTC. I've also got TradeStation up here, I think. Okay, I think that was a go on that. And I can look at the actual Bitcoin symbols there as well. All right, so here's GBTC. Now, let's open up the long-term look at it. So we still have a green PTF here. So it looks like Bitcoin is good for one more high. It has not quite reached, if you notice here, the high probability target zone. So our target on Bitcoin, at least the GBTC, is between 56 and 76. So this area in between here. Now, The PTF, which is down here, and that stands for Precision Trend Filter. You know, everything has an acronym, right? All right, 75% accuracy rate. I don't know if you heard me before say that. So what is that telling us? Well, when it's green, you find the highest price bar in that green area, and that is here. And so there's a 75% probability we're going to go above that, which will put it back in the target zone anyway. Now, in terms of Elliott wave, who out there likes Elliott wave? I do. Okay, so in terms of Elliott wave, 5 waves in a trend. So this would be 3, this would be 4, and this would be the final push 5. So with Bitcoin in general, you got to be a little careful. This is not a buy and hold situation. And I think you have to realize with the cryptos overall, it kind of reminds me of back in the late 1990s when you had the dot-coms come into the market. Remember how many of them came in and how many of them went up, and then we had the crash, and then only a few survived. I think that's going to be the way it's with crypto. I think there'll be a few that survive because there's a lot of cryptos out there right now. And I do think after we reach this high, we may see a crash in Bitcoin. So this is not something you necessarily want to hold on to forever. Just food for thought, okay? Could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm thinking on that. But in any case, one more high on that, and I think that looks pretty good. In terms of when to buy it, if you're not in it, I'd wait a little while. Because you see on the daily chart, let me open up that, has the same targets on there. We're still coming down, all right? This is a bearish pyramid from the pyramid trading point. So we're still coming down there. So we got to be a little bit careful here, right? And of course, we see that bearishness on the 60-minute chart too. So in terms of timing, let's hold off a little bit on that. All right, let's keep moving on. I think Home Depot. Did somebody ask me for Home Depot? I saw that and I was about to get to it before I was disconnected. So let's just quickly go to Home Depot there. All right, definitely on a tear, right? Symbol HD. More highs are coming simply because this is bullish and this is very bullish, but it is a fairly mature trend. So you kind of want to make sure that you're not getting in too late in that. So we're going to have a big normal correction off this at some point. Let's grab our fib retracements. I mean, quite large. I'm just going to run them up from here to here. So we can expect after this move ends, boom, this will be a 3. Then we go into an ABC wave 4. But look at this corrective area. Now, this is a weekly chart, folks. So we're talking about a big correction lasting quite a long time. Almost kind of what we're thinking is going to happen to the overall markets at some point. So there we are. All right. So you got to be careful here not to get in too late and then get caught with that correction. So hopefully you're in already. You've got bullishness on all time frames, so you do have some more short-term highs on its way. All right, let's see what else we got here. Am I still connected? All right. Yeah, Zeke, no problem. Don't worry about that. I like to get the feedback. That's A-okay, all right? There's just certain things that, you know, are kind of out of my control on this platform. So you got to kind of deal with what you got. All right, I got the best equipment here. I've got the ATM Mini Pro here helping me connect. So, you know, the equipment's there. It's just the internet. All right, silver. Okay, let's take a look at silver. This is actually a good one to take a look at. Now, silver is very talked about now in the markets. You got Jimmy Rogers, I think, is saying silver is going to explode and so forth and so on. All right, so let's take a look at it. All right, so we had a big high back here, very similar to gold, actually. So we had a big high back here. This is 3. This is 4. Short-term high is here, but you know what? There is a long-term one, too. So let's get rid of this little bad boy and remove that. And let's take a look and see. We're probably got a good chance of going above here. So I think we're at $20.66. We're probably going to get between $50 and $60 on the next major high on silver. So am I bullish? Yes. But let's take a look and see what the short-term charts, because everything is timing in the markets. And here's the problem. This is why we're not jumping in right now. So a lot of these people were saying get into silver, when it was, you know, around 28, all right? And now it's 20, all right? So that's almost about a 40% drop, right? Quite a bit. So it would have been better to use our tools and wait, because you had a red PTF, you had bearish pyramids. So during this last downdraft, okay, would have been better. And it is still better to wait because we still have red over here. We have a pullback here. We're not even sure this bottom's going to hold. But if it does, that's a big deal. All right, so that's kind of what we're waiting to see, is if that bottom will hold. Now, we're going lower, but this red PTF here is not saying we're going here, it's just saying we're going lower than here, because that's the lowest price bar in that area. Let's magnify that up, because I know that can be kind of hard to see there at home. So here's the major bottom here. All right, here's the PTF price here. So we got a good chance of going lower than that. And then we'll have to see if the PTF turns yellow, which is neutral, because that would be a good sign. If it stays red, then it's going to continue to go lower. So we got to keep an eye on this. The momentum is measured by this indicator called the OWL optimum wave locator, is negative as well. So I wouldn't buy it yet. I would hold off. Let's take a look at the 60-minute. 60-minute, you're going to see an incredible move down. Could have traded this, for God's sakes. Look at all the pyramids, okay? But it's bearish still. So why would you buy into this if the short-term charts are bearish? And the answer is you wouldn't. All right, so be smart. Okay, wait on this. Yes, we're bullish, but timing can be everything. All right, so hopefully that helps you. All right, so, okay. Let me just see. Looks like everybody can see. Okay, silver, so that hopefully will help everybody. What else can I do? I did gold, I did silver, I did Bitcoin, I did Home Depot. What else you got cooking out there? Is silver too mature for a bear trade? That's a good question. Yes, I wouldn't do a bear trade on this, and the reason for this is because if this bottom holds, it could go down a little further and then turn around and take off. So I don't think you want to go on a bear trade against the possibility of another high in the longer time frame right now. It's too late. Okay, if you did it, a little while ago in the beginning of November, it would be okay. A little too late right now. All right, Terry. Let's see. X. What is X? Is that steel? I think it might be a steel company, right? Can't remember offhand. All right, messy chart. When I take a look at this and I see the volatility, look at this. Let's take a look. Boom, 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 boom. Even the weekly chart. Now you could make money in between these swings here. That's fine. All right, but you have to use the lower time frames, and the lower time frame currently is in kind of a sideways motion. So let's just perk it up and take a look at the daily chart and see what's really cooking. So we had a big move up, double bottom, just about right here, okay, on the history I've got loaded here. So you had this, now you had a big move down and big move down up here. So where is this going? That's the question. Where's the target on this? Is it going to fall off and go down and hit another bottom here, or is it going to take off? Pretty hard to know from that chart, right? So I call this a messy chart. So I pretty much would avoid this one. I don't even see any PTFs that can help us because they're all yellow. So on X, probably, if anything, if you want to play this little correction here, you've got a retracement from here to here. You're close to the target zone. So maybe this could be a target zone here, and then we go up one more time. Possible. It's possible, but it's not very clear. Okay? U.S. Steel, that's right. U.S. Steel. All right, so let's keep going here. FCEL. So I guess on U.S. Steel, I think you can do better. Try to find ones a little bit clearer, okay? See, U.S. Steel, heavy metal. All right, FCEL. All right, so let's open up this bad boy. Now, we've got a green PTF on the weekly chart showing something, but let's see where it really is. All right, so let's open that up like that. All right, so the PTF is saying there's a high probability we'll get above this high, which is around $30. Pardon my unstraight lines there. But, we have an active pyramid down, all right, and we have prices still drifting to the downside. So it's getting close to the bottom here, so you may get another really kind of nice opportunity on this to go long. But let's see what the shorter time frames say in terms of timing. So long trade, yes, because of the PTF, but maybe not yet. Let's open this bad boy up here and see where we're going here. So when we looked at this earlier, we drew some fibs retracements, and we're kind of going through that fib area here. So we got to wait for this thing to turn around. All right, it just is still correcting. Now, what'll be instrumental is to see if this bottom holds right here. Okay, pyramids will take you up on this leg here. All right, but now we've got a new leg down. So we got to see where this ends. We still got a little bearish momentum. We do not have a red PTF, so that's okay. But it's still heading down. So we got to wait on this one a little bit. And let's open the 60-minute chart, and you can see that downdraft. Now, a lot of people like to trade the 60-minute chart because you can take advantage of these swings in the market a lot better sometimes than a daily chart, right? So that gives you an opportunity. So you can see all the pyramids giving you great entries and stops. You know, you trail those stops down on the pyramids, and you still have this here. We've already blown through any really normal type of fib. So this is heading down still. So this is not a buy here. Okay, if you're in it, you can hold it, but you're going to have your stop, if you're not stopped out already, way at the bottom here. So we'll see what happens with that. So on this one here, Stuart, I think that's USL. I kind of would just hold tight if you're in it. If not, then don't get in it yet, okay? Let's take a look at TLRY. All right, very similar thing in that we have a bullish weekly chart. Let's open that one up. PTF is saying it's going to go quite high in the 60s, and we're at $9, but it's still going down, okay, short term. So you don't want to buy this yet until the momentum comes back into the plus side. So all these should go on a watch list, okay, they're really good. All right, Zeke, let's take a look at MRVL, Marble. Oh, I want to take a look at a couple of the housing ETFs too. All right, so we got a little bit of a jump up here, okay. If you were long already based on the pyramids, you're going to be really happy now. All right, so what do you do with this? Well, we're in a major wave 3 still on the weekly. Let's open up that weekly and you can see it. Check that out. Now, a couple things here. You got to be careful. All right, movement is getting hyperbolic. This is classic in a wave 3. Hyperbolic movements can occur in the middle or the end of wave 3. So we've got to be careful, all right? So Al's calling this a wave 3. This is a wave 3 still in progress. We have a green PTF, so we're probably going to go higher. But let's just talk about, if you're not in this yet, look how many pyramids in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this leg up, and before that, quite a few. So it's mature. Anything after 4 pyramids in a row, and the trend is getting a little mature, and we kind of like think twice before entering, right? So on this one here, let's just quickly take a look here. If it ended today, we can expect a retracement from 57 to 38. Now, I'm not saying that's happening, because it looks to me like it's going to go a little higher. But this is something you need to be aware of that's in the shadows, so to speak, as a possibility on this once wave 3 ends. Let's take a look at the shorter term time frames. All right, definitely moving up. What helps me here on this one especially is the green PTF and OWL on the 60. So short term we should go above here. That's kind of reassuring. Now, we have bearish divergence building in the OWL here on the daily. That's when prices go up and the momentum heads in the opposite direction. And we have a gap up. So is this an exhaustion gap? Hard to say right now. Middle of the trend gap? Probably not with bearish divergence. So I would say we're probably close to the end of this move up, but you have one more high. So I would be, very, very careful on where you set your stops here. In other words, use stops in case this thing reverses. One of the things you could certainly do is put a scale out stop here. So if we go below here, you scale out of a little bit. All right, so you can do it that way. As soon as this turns yellow up here on the 60, you can scale out a little bit. and then move stops on the major pyramids. Okay, cool. So it looks pretty good. Did that help? Hopefully. All right, let me quickly go to some real estate ETFs. You can ask me some more. I'll hang around for a little longer since we kind of, got delayed here. So I'm sure many of you are in the real estate market in one form or another, have done really well in the last year, of course. Unbelievable real estate market. But there's some things, too, that you have to consider. If the markets break and crash at some point, probably the real estate market will return to normal and come down quite a bit as well. So how do you gauge this? Well, one of the great ways is real estate ETFs. Because if we take a look, here's Vanguard on one, and here is Schwab. So there's many different funds that track the real estate market in a variety of different ways. In fact, if you Google, real estate ETFs, you'll find the whole list. All right, but the thing is that, let's say you're thinking about selling your home. Let's say you're, what do you do? Do I want to buy now or not? Well, this is clearly still in an uptrend. Yeah, we've had a little softening here, but we've had that before and then it rebounds. So you really can't say that there is any type of major break to the downside yet in the real estate market. Not according to this chart anyway. Now, locality may play a special part in this, where you live. Specifically, you may get more appreciation than somebody else. That's true. Or you may decline quicker than somebody else. That's all true. So you got to take that into account. But overall, the market is looking really good, and we're above all the major trend lines. All right, so that's something to kind of think about. Now, one of the things that you can also do is, let's say the real estate market breaks and you don't want to sell your real estate, or you want to take advantage of the break in the market. Well, you can short certain real estate companies, but you can also use what they call inverse Reits. And what these do, and let's just take a look at the weekly chart on this bad boy. So this thing has been coming down since 2011 because the market has been going up, right? So this is inverse. So when the real estate market goes up, this goes down. And why am I showing this? Because if you have IRAs or things like that, you can't short markets, right? But you can buy, and you're allowed to buy inverse Reits. So this is considered a purchase, a buy in your IRA or whatever retirement fund you may have that doesn't allow you to go short. So this is a way you could take advantage of a falling real estate market. So that's why I like to show it to you. You can also perhaps hedge your current hard assets of real estate with a REIT. So just food for thought, okay? You can take a look at these, Google it, and see what's cooking on that. All right, let me just make sure I covered everybody's. So let's take a look, let's run up TradeStation for a minute. So I have Ethereum USD here. And as you can see, that's been on a tear as well. Let's open up this chart here. This is a pretty big chart. All right, so we had, back a couple years ago, it was channeling, then broke out. All big trends start from sleepy channeling markets. So those are the ones you don't want to miss. So this one broke out, bunch of pyramids, still pretty good. We got a little bearish divergence here in this. So you do have to be careful about being close to a top at this time. So just keep that in mind. And you see the bearish divergence also on the daily as well. So be careful about that. All right, let me just see here. Okay. Yep, okay. All right, so is there anything else? Going once, going twice. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and coming back on and staying with us today. All right. All right, you guys like this? Was this helpful? So we're going to try to, we're going to be doing this every week at 8 a.m. going forward now. So if we miss anything or you have something come up during the week, come back, okay? Oh, Dow Jones. Yeah, let's do the Dow Jones real quick. All right. So that's the index. Why don't we run through not only the Dow, let's do a couple of them. By the way, here's an inverse on the QQQ. So if the actual Nasdaq or the Dow starts to head down, this will go up. This is an inverse. This is another way you can hedge your portfolio, your stock portfolios if you don't want to sell anything, and or just trade and take advantage of the downswing. You can do this on the futures as well, of course. All right, so let's take a look here. Indexes. Let's take a look first at the Nasdaq. All right. So the Nasdaq has been tearing up, but it's also at a point now where we're seeing some movement to the downside. All yellow PTFs. All right, if this thing breaks big time, we're talking a retracement down to these levels here, around 111.124. I hate it when they use long numbers like that. All the way down to there to possibly a 79.26, so almost split in half, okay, when this thing breaks. I'm not saying it's breaking now. We could get one more high here because we're still above the trend line, but we have bearish divergence. So the party will end at some point, folks, and you want to be careful about watching, having support levels picked on the markets and indexes that you're trading. All right, so we've got a red owl here, and we have a bearish situation on the 60 minutes, so it's still coming down. Let's check the Dow Jones here. What's the market doing today? It's down, it looks about 97 points today. All right, so this is a little bit more nefarious here because we have red PTFs all over the place. So it looks to me like we're heading down into this level here, okay? And in terms of an action plan, if you're interested in that, you need to sign up for our, we have a variety of different services called the Oracle Inner Circle, where we actually, have text messages where we text you when certain support levels of importance are broken. So definitely check that out on our website if you're interested. Maybe just the More report where we actually give you stock picks each and every week and cover the markets too. So one of those two would be good for you if you're interested. And that way you won't get caught blindsided if this thing moves down. So we currently are in a move to the downside. It's not over yet. Is it the big one, so to speak, the big crash? Too early to tell. Key levels of support have not been reached yet, okay? All right, let's see what else we got here. TSLA, I did that one, Key, but let's take a look at that for you one more time, okay? TSLA. Okay, so on this one here, let's open up that weekly bad boy again. So we're on a tear here, and what's interesting about this is this owl almost is higher than this one. So if this one goes higher, this will go over here, and this is still a wave 3, okay? No question about it. Green PTF, so that's bullish. So this chart is bullish. We haven't gone below any of the more intermediate trend lines. We did break a short-term trend line for scaling out there, but that's where it's at right now, okay? So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pyramids in a row, so that is too many pyramids to enter a long position at this point. So you obviously wanted to enter down here. That was your pyramid trading point entry from the ART software. That would have been your best entry. Let's take a look at the intermediate daily chart here. And it looks like we've got another high coming up here too. So I think you're okay long, but you got to have your stop pretty far back, okay? That's the problem. So if this thing comes down here, you may want to scale out a little bit or get out because the correction may deepen. But again, green PTFs on all time frames. So I don't think I'd get out of this. I would just hold it, okay? So I'm bullish on this. And finally, MSFT for Thumper. Thumper, how are you doing today? All right, so Thumper was at our summit that we had a couple of weeks ago. We had a lot of fun there. All right, so Microsoft's still on a tear. All right, most of the major tech companies like this are looking like Microsoft, up and away, right? You just got to be careful because the party will end. So you always want to use a stop. Now, this is just a classic, beautiful move up on the long-term weekly chart. This is a wave 3, okay? Green PTF. But these wave 3s will eventually break at some point. Now, if it broke today, this will be very similar to the retracement you'd probably get on the Dow. And notice I started this anchoring not at the very bottom, but here, because that's the way we anchor them off the Elliott waves. All right, so we're talking about when it corrects. I'm not saying it's going to right now, but it will one day. All right, you were talking about a correction, fib retracement correction between 38.2 to 61.8, 70% of the wave 4s come into this area. 15% are a little shallow in this red area here, and 15% exceed 70%, but never go below wave 1. So we're talking about prices of 232 to 158, roughly in that area. If we look at the daily chart here, we're bullish as well, all right, and we have a bullish 60-minute PTF, so that's a good sign, but it's very close to going red, so we've got to be careful here. So for right now, if you're in this long term, I'd put your stop right on this pyramid over here. That's where I would put that, and that would probably be right around here on the daily. Okay, so I'd stay with it, but if you get hit, get out. And Zeke, you're right. Zeke says Microsoft kind of represents the broader market. Absolutely. And you'll find that on a lot of these big tech stocks because, but you know, the tech stocks too are kind of funny because during COVID, the broader market sold off and the tech stocks did fairly well. They did suffer, but they did fairly well compared to other stocks. So that was kind of a unique situation. But I do think when we get to the next major high at some point, when the market finally does correct, and you'll know it because it'll start going through support levels, I think it's going to be broad-based. I don't think it's just going to be the Dow. I think it's going to bleed over into pretty much everything, including housing. Okay? All right, so why don't we wrap it up here today? I think I did them all here. Okay? So I want to appreciate everybody for coming today. Okay? Great audience. And don't forget, let me push this little button here and see if, I think you can see now that you need to, that says the Ultimate Trading System. All right, but we want you to like and subscribe as well, okay? So if you're interested in our software, check it out on the website at traderscoach.com. It's great software, all right? It's and we do a lot of comprehensive weekly support sessions on how to use it, just kind of like this. All right, let me just see the comments here before we call it a day. Thumper, you're very welcome. All right, Zeke, the whole ship will sink rather than just the stern. Exactly. All right. Terry, many thanks. You're very welcome as well. Zeke, great stuff today. Oh, my pleasure. So listen, we're trying to build a channel. All right, and it's not so easy to do on YouTube. All right, so if you could share this link as much as possible, the recording will be available, or at least tell folks about it. The more people we get coming, the better. And I'll tell you why. Because the more stocks we look up, the more we may find an opportunity that we didn't see that somebody else can give us. All right, so the more people we have here, the better. So that's kind of why I'm trying to get this thing going, because you could almost use this session as a stock picking service, so to speak, because we'll look at stocks and we'll see which ones are really good. Okay. All right, Samuel, my pleasure. Okay. So when I use TradeStation, Samuel, we can look at those symbols directly for the Bitcoin for you. Okay, going forward. So we'll do that. I'll have that booted up when you're here. All right, listen, have a great one, and we'll see you back here next time.